Today, I want to talk about electronics. It used to be I would hear, oh, electronics have ruined my kids. And now what I hear a lot of is nothing regarding electronics. It's just a part of life. That's the way it is. But I would like to talk about, um, for those who may think electronics have ruined my kids, or those who think that's just the way it is. Some of those ideas to think about that could help you in understanding electronics and yours or your children's relationship with electronics.
Children are great by their very nature, and we have the privilege and responsibility of raising them. It can be challenging at times. Let's talk about it.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Armstrong. I'm a general and special education teacher. I homeschooled my own children for 5 years, and I've done so much study academically and personally to find solutions for myself, my own children, and my students. And that's what I want to share with you. And today I want to talk about electronics. It can be the phone, it can be video games, it could be any of those electronic devices that can suck up time, uh, and our children can become addicted to, or we can become addicted to. So as we look at this, consider where you're at and where your child is at. Uh, so it's not electronic devices that we become addicted to, or our children become addicted to, and whether addicted is like a really strong word, but there are people who really struggle to live without their devices. Or if you're just, it's a go-to for you when things happen. So either way, consider these things. I want to use the example of going on a road trip. Back in the day, road trips, we did not have electronic devices. And so this isn't necessarily, oh, they were better parents. They were just as desperate as you to entertain their children and keep things calm on a road trip. But they didn't have electronic devices. So what did they do instead? For many, it was games, it was stories. We could create stories on our own, play 20 questions, guess the animal, find the alphabet in the environment. We would find ways to entertain our children just out of being desperate, right? Nowadays, the go-to is electronics. How many times do I see the minivans or other vehicles that have the flip-down videos and their children are watching videos? Do I see the electronic devices just in the hands? You see the little heads and the little glowing light on the faces as they're playing. At least at night, you see the glowing. Not necessarily during the day, but you do see this. And this is children whose eyes are stuck on a small device, whether it's right here or whether it's just up a little ways. They're not looking out at their environment as much. They're not noticing, they're not seeing, they're not exercising their eyes into the distance. But what does that mean for electronics? Because that doesn't mean electronics are bad, because they're not. There are lots of good things about electronics. But what I've noticed, and what you might see in some of the research, is what it has replaced. What has electronics replaced? And that is a lot of that interaction with other people. And I know there'll be those that go, but oh no, I interact with my online friends. Um, there is a point where that is good, but there's also something different, something more vulnerable, something you learn more from in the face-to-face conversations. Then there's the working of the eyes, the working of the brain in those communications. And so as you look at it, what has it replaced? Let's take going outside to play. Children, and it depends on where you are in the world, even in a city or a town, there might be places that are safer than others. And so our children aren't going outside. They're not running around and having that freedom to kind of choose what they're doing in that moment. And so in electronics, it's replaced certain needs our children have, that need for independence, that need to make decisions on their own, to feel responsible. And so they can use electronics because we might not allow them to go down to the store at the corner of the street because it's dangerous. But in a video game, they can choose to go wherever or do whatever they want. And so there's skills that are not being developed, that used to be developed. And video games do help with certain skills. Actually, brain surgeons do well with that. The hand, eye, the decision making. It's actually, there's a study out there that shows that it can help brain surgeons with some of their little fine motor tasks and things, which blew my mind a little bit. That's what the research had said, and so there are things, but also what does it take away in the relationships, in other skills, and then in us finding healthier ways to meet our personal needs, such as that independence, such as connection. Maybe we didn't connect with our children as well, or maybe they're struggling with friends at school, so they turn to the electronic devices. So it can be a means to avoid, it can be a means to fill a void. And so it's not electronics, it's how we use electronics. It's what we use electronics to fulfill us or to avoid things. And so really, truly take a look at that for ourselves. And there's research out there that shows that children who have get to structure their own time, they have unlimited time. And if they get to choose between play, TV watching, and other electronic devices such as video games and things like that, they do not use video games to replace outside time. They will more often replace TV watching with video games and keep that same amount of play outside. And so again, it's not about the electronic devices and them being addictive. It's what other choices do our children have, and what they might feel they're lacking in. And so take a look at that for yourself, for your children, and see, where are we in this electronic? There's people who've said, like, I come home and home has been, work has been so stressful So I am going to play video games. And in terms of children, school has been so stressful, and video games just lets me release and let go and relax. But when we wake up in the morning, do we go through the same thing at work or at school? Or have we developed skills that help us to feel good, to feel great at work and at school, and not need to come home and avoid um, processing and enjoying the day? So, things to consider as you're considering electronic devices, your child, and also yourself. So remember, children are great by their very natures, and we have that privilege and that responsibility to raise them.
Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.